The tipping point. How little things can make a big difference. Malcolm Gladwell. Consider the following brain teaser. Suppose I give you 4 card label with the letter A and D and numeral 3 and 6. The rule of the game is that the card is a bubble only, always has an even number on the other side. Which of the cards would you have to turn over to prove this rule to be true? The answer is 2. The A card is and the 3 card. The overwhelming majority of people give this test, though don't get it right. They tend to answer just the A card and the A and the 6. It's a hard question. But now let me pose another question. Suppose 4 people are drinking in a bar. One is drinking Coke. One is 16. One is drinking beer and one is 12.5. Given the rule that no one under 21 is allowed to drink beer, which of those people's ID do we have to check to make sure the law is being observed? Now the answer is easy. In fact, I'm sure that almost everyone will get it right. The beer drinker and the 16-year-old, but as the psychologist Reda Cosmidi, who dreamed of this exam, point out, it's exactly the same puzzle as the A, D, 3, and 6 puzzle. The difference is that it's framed in a way that makes it about people instead about number, and as human beings, we are a lot more sophisticated about each other than you are about the abstract world. The mistake we make in thinking of a character as someone unified and all-encompassing is very similar to a kind of blind spot in a way we process information. Psychologists call this tendency of fundamental attribution error, FAE, which is a fancy way of saying that when it comes to interpreting other people's behavior, human beings invariably make the mistake of overestimating the importance of fundamental character traits and underestimating the importance of the situation and context. We will always reach for a dispositional explanation for event and are forced to a contextual explanation. In an experiment, for instance, a group of people are told to watch two sets of similarly talented basketball players, the first of whom are shooting basket in a well-lighted gym, and the second of whom are shooting basket in a boldly lighted gym, and obviously missing a lot of shot. Then they are asked to judge how good the players were. The players in the well-lighted gym were considered superior. In another example, a group of people are brought in for an experiment and told they are going to play a quiz game. They are paired up and they draw a. One person gets a card that says he or she is going to be contestant. The other is told he or she is going to be a questioner. The questioner is then asked to draw a list of 10 challenging but not impossible questions based on area of particular interest and expertise. So someone who is into Ukrainian folk music might come up with a series of questions based on Ukrainian folk music. The questions are posed to the contestant, and after the quiz is over, both parties are asked to estimate the level of general knowledge of the other. Invariably, the constant rate the questioner as being a lot smarter than they themselves are. You can do this kind of experiment a thousand different ways, and the answer almost always come out the same way. This happens even when you give people a clear and immediate environmental explanation of the behavior they are being asked to evaluate. The gym, in the first case, has few right on that the contestant is being asked to answer the most impossibly biased and rigged set of questions. In the end, this doesn't make much difference. There is something in all of us that makes us instinctively want to explain the world around us in terms of people's essential attribute. He's a better basketball player. That person is smarter than I am. We do this because, like Babette, we are a lot more attuned to personal cues than contextual cues. The FAE also, FAE, fundamental attribution error, also make the world a much simpler and more understandable place. In recent years, for example, there has been much interest in the idea that one of the most fundamental facts in explaining personality is birth order. Older siblings are domineering and conservative, younger siblings more creative and rebellious. When psychologists actually try to verify this claim, however, their answers sound like a Hemsworth and May conclusion. We do reflect the influence of both order, but as the psychologist Judith Harris points out in the nature assumption only around our families. When they are away from their families in different contexts, older siblings are no more likely to be domineering and younger siblings no more likely to be rebellious than anyone else. The birth order myth is an example of the FAE in action. But you can see why we are so drawn to it. It's much easier to define people just in terms of their family personality. It's a kind of shorthand. If we constantly had to qualify every assumption of those around us, how would we make sense of the world? How much harder would it be to make the thousands of decisions we are required to make about whether we like someone, or love someone, or trust someone, or want to give someone advice? The psychologist Walter Mischel argued that the human mind has a kind of reducing valve that creates and maintains the perception of continuity, even in the face of perpetual observed change in actual behavior. He writes, when you observe a woman who seems hostile and fiercely independent some of the time, but passive, dependent, and feminine on the other occasion, our reducing value usually makes us choosing between the two syndromes. We decide that one pattern is in the service of the other, and that both are in the service of third motive. She must be a really contracting lady with a facade of passivity. Or perhaps she is a warm, passive-dependent woman with a surface defense of aggressiveness. But perhaps nature is bigger than our concept, and it's possible for the lady to be hostile, fiercely independent, passive, dependent, feminine, aggressive, warm, contracting person only one. Of course, each of these C's at any particular moment would not be random or capricious. It would depend on who she is with, when, how, and much more. But which of these aspects of herself may be a quite genuine and real aspect of her total being. Character, then. Character isn't what you think it is, or rather, what you want it to be. It isn't a stable, easily identifiable set of closely related traits, and it only seems that way because you are glitch in a way our brains are organized. Character is more like a bundle of habit and tendency, interest, usually bound together and dependent at certain times on circumstance and context. The reason that most of us seem to have a consistent character is that most of us are really good at controlling our environment. I have a lot of fun at dinner party. As a result, I throw a lot of dinner party and my friends see me there and think that I am fun. But if I couldn't have lots of dinner party, if my friends instead tend to see me in a lot of different situations over which I had little or no control, like say, faced with for hostile use in filthy, broken down survey. They probably wouldn't think of me as fun anymore.